Good evening. I'm calling to order this meeting of the Arlington Select Board on Monday, March 30th, 2026. I am, for a few minutes more, Select Board Chair Diane Mahan. Tonight's meeting is being conducted in a hybrid format consistent with provisions in state law for remote participation in public meetings. Before we begin, please note the following. This meeting is being conducted in the Select Board chambers and over Zoom. It is being recorded and simultaneously broadcasted on ACMi. People wishing to join the meeting by Zoom may find information on how to do so on the town's website. People participating either in person or by Zoom are reminded that you may be visible to others and that if you wish to participate, we ask you to provide your full name and place of residence in the interest of developing a record of the meeting. Both Zoom participants and persons watching on ACMi can follow the posted agenda materials found on the town's website. Specifically, go to the Select Board Agendas and Minutes page. If technical difficulties sever the remote connection to one or more participants and efforts to reconnect within a reasonable period of time fail, the in-person meeting will continue at the discretion of the chair, provided that a quorum of the board is physically present. Zoom participants are encouraged to retain the phone number provided in their confirmation email for a backup audio connection to the meeting. There will be the following opportunity for public comment at tonight's meeting. We have one warrant article hearing. If you are attending by Zoom and want to participate, please raise your hand when the chair announces that public comment is open. If you do not know how to raise your hand in Zoom, now would be an excellent time to Google for how to do so. And as Mr. DeCourcy would say, let's see how much of the town's business we can get done tonight. I'll now turn to our board administrator, Ashley Marr.
Thank you, Mrs. Mahan. At this time, I will accept nominations for the chair of the Select Board for the 2026. Mrs. Mahan?
I'd like to nominate John Hurd for chair.
Thank you.
Second.
Any further discussion, or Mrs. Mahan?
I'd like to make a motion to close the nominations.
On a motion by Mrs. Mahan to close nominations.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. DeCourcy. All those in favor?
Roll call? No roll call? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye. Aye.
On a motion to elect Mr. Hurd as the chair of the Select Board. By Mrs. Mahan, seconded by Mr. DeCourcy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Here's the fancy preamble.
Shocking result. I'll now invite members to flip up their agenda.
Oh, we have to do vice chair. We haven't done vice chair yet.
Well,
We can flip it. We can see, you're the chair. We do what you say.
All right, at this time, I'll take, you take motion to open nominations? I'll take a motion to open nominations for vice chair.
So moved.
By Mr. DeCourcy,
Second?
seconded by Mrs. Mahan. Mr. DeCourcy?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to nominate Mr. Helmuth as vice chair.
We have a motion for Mr. Helmuth. Any second?
Second?
Seconded by Mrs. Mahan. I'll take a motion to, do we have any further nominations? No contested races here? Do we have a motion to close nominations?
So moved.
By Mr. DeCourcy,
Second?
seconded by Mrs. Mahan. It's not a roll call, right? So we have a motion to close nomination by Mr. DeCourcy, seconded by Mrs. Mahan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have a unanimous vote to elect Mr.
Well, that's to
Helmuth.
close nominations?
Oh.
We already elect Mr. Helmuth? We already do that? We haven't done that
Let me
yet,
get my
right?
fuse back. All right, nominations are closed. A motion to elect Mr. Helmuth as vice chair. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We now have a unanimous vote.
Congratulations, Mr. Helmuth.
Thank you very much.
You staying there?
What's up?
You're staying there?
Yeah, I'm good, yeah.
All right. Moving on to the town's business. Number 2 on the agenda tonight is for approval, Memorial Day ceremony for May 25th, 2026 For this, I'm going to go to the town manager, Jim Feeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Donovan, VSO Donovan, is unable to join us this evening due to a pressing family matter. We will certainly reschedule Mr. Donovan for a future appearance and introduction in front of this board. But in his absence, I would respectfully request the board consider favorable action on the Memorial Day event request included in your materials this evening. And just wanted to specifically note that you are certainly all invited to the event on Monday, March 25th, that we're seeking, May 25th, that we're seeking approval for. This evening, this year's event on Monday, May 25th is slated to begin here at Town Hall in the auditorium at 9 a.m., followed by a decoration of our memorial sites at the Old Burying Ground and subsequently Mount Pleasant Cemetery. So please do join us on Memorial Day for the celebration and gathering to reflect and remember those folks at 9 a.m. here at Town Hall. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Feeney. I will turn to the board for any questions, comments, or motions. Mrs. Mahan?
Move approval for the request for a permit for Monday, May 25th, 2026.
By Mrs. Mahan, give me seconds. Second by Mr. Hellman. On a motion to approve the Memorial Day ceremony by Mrs. Mahan, seconded by Mr. Hellmuth. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have a unanimous vote. Item number 3, for approval, appointment of town clerk. We'll invite our current town clerk, Ms. Brazil. And I'll go to Mr. Feeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So by way of background, obviously we all know our current town clerk who was elected back in April of 2023 for a 3-year term that was set to expire as of the election on Saturday, and there's a state law that would maintain her in the office for 7 days. As this board also may recall, during the period of her term, the town went through the lengthy process with approvals from this board, town meeting, the voters, and ultimately the state to convert our town clerk position from an elected position to an appointed position. So as of the expiration of Ms. Brazil's term, we have the opportunity to appoint a town clerk. This particular appointment, I am the appointing authority through the Town Manager Act, but it also requires and is subject to confirmation by this board, similar to the comptroller and treasurer. So before the board this evening is Ms. Brazil for consideration of becoming Arlington's first ever appointed town clerk. And I'm just saying, it's my honor to put you, Ms. Brazil, forward for consideration. I know I speak for a lot of people when I say you have served the town incredibly well, and you do so tirelessly. If ever there's a car in the parking lot when I'm leaving that may still be here, it inevitably is yours. So I greatly appreciate all the time and energy you give to this, the community and its residents day in and day out, and especially this past weekend, because I know it was particularly hectic. So thank you very much.
That could be the George Costanza move. She just walks home, so you think she's there late.
It's working.
Have you checked under her desk around that? No.
Ms. Brazil, if you'd like to address the board and let us know why you'd like to continue as town clerk.
No, it's been an honor to serve as clerk for 6 years, and I'm still having fun. So I'm grateful to the manager for recommending me for the appointed position, so I can carry on. I haven't quite got everything on my clerk bucket list checked off, so there's more to do, and I'm happy to do it.
Thank you. And I'll turn to the board for any, Mr. Hellmuth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to heartily move approval, confirm the appointment, and echo the town manager's thanks for your incredible service to the town. The clerk's office is the public face of the town for a lot of residents, and it's a fulcrum of public trust, especially when it comes to elections. And on that note, I want to thank you and your incredibly hardworking team for pulling off an election, which is always complicated with the mail-in ballots and the early voting and all the different precincts we have flawlessly. And it's the bedrock of our local democracy, and we don't take that lightly. I'm glad that you're willing to continue leading the office, which has only improved under your watch. And we're very fortunate to have you.
Mr. Corsi?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll second Mr. Helmuth's motion, and thank Ms. Brazil for her years of service as an elected official, and certainly support you continuing on with the town. Thank you for all your hard work throughout these years.
Very welcome.
Mrs. Mahan?
I also want to extend my thanks to our soon-to-be, well, almost appointed town clerk now, but in your tenure as elected, I've really been appreciative, just would say ditto to what my colleague Mr. Helmuth said regarding the elections and mail-in ballots. You're one of the few department heads that really extends beyond what we'd call the traditional 9 to 5, 8 to 4, Friday, 8 to 12 position, besides town meeting, you know, having to come to those, besides everything you do for the residents of this town in terms of elections and making your office available beyond what are the normal business hours of town hall and other staff. You also, one thing that I am very appreciative of, and I also think helps the electorate here in Arlington, is also all the extra, it's probably considered in your job purview, but also what you have to do with candidates for office or candidates for public ballot questions like the override. Before, me being the longest person here on the board from 1999, candidates were really left on their own to try to find the law, figure out how the law applies, 8 days before, 30 days after, yearly no activity, yearly some activity. And you know, from my personal experience, there can be a lot of mistakes made, or dates missed, just because, and having that as a resource and the way you've just sort of automated that and get everybody else the same information also makes it a whole lot easier, and that's extra work. And again, there's extra time that you have to be in the office to do that. She just swore Mr. Solomon and I in tonight, so I am appreciative of that other facet of the job, which I guess is now incorporated, but I am appreciative of that. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yep. Mr. Solomon?
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything that everybody else has said here, but the thing that you said of you haven't checked everything off your bucket list, I think is indicative of the right mindset for somebody who's in this role, right? You see opportunity and you make improvements, and that makes the town a better place for everybody, so thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
I also appreciate all the modernization of the office, and every now and then when you nudge us, yeah, we're really supposed to be doing things this way if we want to strictly comply with the law and whatnot, but you certainly have a passion for their job, and I appreciate your polite nudging reminders when I get my finance reports in right on the last day. All right, so we have a motion to approve by Mr. Helmuth, seconded by Mr. Corsi. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and as we take up number 4, I am going to first go to Mr. Helmuth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I need to recuse myself from this item because it is a petition to the legislature, and because of my daytime employment by the Massachusetts Senate, I'm required by the state ethics law to not participate in the debate or vote.
All right, and the minutes will reflect that Mr. Helmuth has left the room for this discussion. So this is a request from ACMi for an ACMi letter of support for House Bill 91, Senate Bill 2556. And do we have Norm McLeod from ACMi here?
He should be.
Oh. I'm not used to looking at the screens there, and
Norm should be logging on. He and I had spoke beforehand, but I'll start. John Leone, president of ACMi. We are asking the select board to approve and send this letter off to our members of the legislature and ask them likewise to send it to the finance committees of the State House so that they can get this thing out of consideration and onto the floor for a vote. There is currently in front of the state the two bills, I believe, to change the way fees are accessed against streaming services. Right now, as you know, ACMi and every other cable station in the state gets our funding from a 5% mandate from the FCC on cable bills, which leads to our problem with finances. With streamers cutting the cord, they're now going strictly over the internet. What this bill does and proposes is to tap those streaming services with a likewise 5% fee on any streaming service that's provided over the internet, basically recapturing the cord cutters. These services are using the town streets and poles, which is the reason for the cable 5% fee, because they're using the airways over, well, the streetways and over the towns, and the town gets its money from that. So we're asking that this provide the same for the streaming services. By some rough calculations that Norm did, if he was able to log on, it could mean between $75,000 and $100,000 a year for us, which would go towards us making up some of the $200,000 to $300,000 we've lost from cord cutters. It's the second or third year it's been up, but this is the closest it's come to getting out of committee, which is what we're hoping these letters will do. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
All right, and I see that Norm is here as well. Mr. McLeod, would you like to address the board with anything in addition to Mr. Leone's comments?
That was quite complete, but as John explained, yeah, that's probably going to be an income for ACMi anywhere from $75,000 to maybe $100,000. We don't know what that figure would actually be. Obviously, the streaming services are not telling us how much they're making on a yearly basis, but those figures would come out once the bill was passed and some of the details start to be hammered out.
Well, every time I look at my bank account, the streaming services seem to go up $2 or $3 a month, so I think they're doing fine. Before I turn to the board, I'm going to read the letter that I have in front of me. So this is addressed to Senator Cindy Friedman, Representatives David M. Rogers and Sean Garbely. Dear Senator Friedman, Representatives Rogers and Garbely, the Town of Arlington Select Board urges you both to renew your support of House Bill 91, Senate Bill 2556, an act to modernize funding for community media programming, and we ask you to share this letter to the members of the Joint Committee on Ways and Means for favorable action. As you both know, with Massachusetts cable subscriptions steadily declining, the essential revenue from franchise fees has also declined. Bills House 91 and Senate 2556 would update the law to mirror technological advances, allowing the town of Arlington to keep pace and deliver vital local information and educational media to our residents. Our local PEG access station, Arlington Community Media, provides a vital service by cable casting live streaming and making available on-demand coverage of public meetings and forums, plus school and select meetings that help keep our residents informed and connected. Coverage of events such as parades, MLK Day, concerts, and high school sports all add to a feeling of being a part of the vibrant community that is called Arlington. An act to modernize funding for community media programming makes sense for Massachusetts municipalities. The town of Arlington strongly supports favorable action on House Bill 91, Senate Bill 2556 by the Massachusetts State Legislature. Sincerely, Arlington Select Board, which I would sign on behalf of the board. I now open the floor. Mrs. Mahan?
I'd like to approve this request with one, possibly two friendly amendments, housekeeping issues, since it's going to three of our legislative delegation, can we change the word both, where, to all? Both implies two versus, since there's three people. So the two places, if that's okay with Mr. Leone and Mr. McLeod, and if it's okay, God bless you.
Thank you.
And God bless you too also, but that wasn't meant for you too. If we could just change the word urges to requests, since we're moving, that this board request. If that's okay, if Mr. Leone and Mr. McLeod will accept that? And there's Sharon.
Yes.
Yes, is that okay? Okay, so
Yes.
that would be my motion, to move approval with those two housekeeping changes.
Mr. Corsi?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I may add a couple of other things. Okay, I want to thank Mr. Leone and Mr. McLeod for bringing this to our attention. This is exactly what we had talked about previously, the need for state law and frankly, an update to the federal law too, in terms of what comes in for PEG access. The one thing here, I was almost going to suggest as a friendly amendment, maybe we authorize the chair to send a letter on behalf of the board, because my understanding is Representatives Garberly and Rogers are already co-sponsors of House 91, and Senate 2556 incorporated an earlier filed bill, Senate 41, and Senator Friedman was a co-sponsor of that. So maybe we thank them for their support and urge them to move this forward.
So
Yeah, so, but I think that would be within the editorial powers of the chair, but we certainly want to support. So I want to second the motion to support the letter, and maybe give the chair a little bit more leeway in terms of how this gets changed, maybe working with the town manager and town council.
Yep. And I think as practice, this board can authorize the chair to make changes based on the input that we get at the meeting here tonight. Mr. Cunningham?
Thank you,
Attorney
Mr.
Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to affirm that what Mr. DeCoursey said was correct regarding sponsorship, and also that the chair can exercise that discretion if the board gives it to you, and I'm happy to work with you to put this in a form that you're happy with.
All right. Any further discussion? All right. So on a motion to approve the chair to take the comments from the board, put them into a final form of the letter, and sign on behalf of the board by Mrs. Mahan, seconded by Mr. Corsi. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? 4-0 vote, 1 recusal.
Thank you very much, we appreciate it. Let's hope they can get it out of committee this time.
All right.
Thank
both.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the minutes can reflect that Mr. Helmuth has rejoined us in the meeting here. All right. That takes us to item number 5 on our agenda, acceptance of funds. Mr. Town Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Hurd, and if I could, I'd like to take the opportunity to invite up Jim Stubby and Joanne Stubby as well. So, again, thank you, Mr. Chair, for allowing this item on the agenda. As is customary, this board, on behalf of the town, in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A, has to accept any donations made to the town for a specific purpose. And oftentimes, we do that through the consent agenda. However, this was a particularly generous and sizable gift to the community, and it's for a specific purpose that I know is certainly a priority of mine, but is also one that is near and dear to this board's heart, if you will, in terms of something that we want to be doing more of. So this generous gift to the town from Mrs. Joanne Stubby, the stated purpose of it is to enhance pedestrian safety through the installation of additional rectangular rapid flashing beacons, or RRFBs as we know them. So specifically, once accepted and we establish a special gift account for these funds within the Department of Public Works, it would permit our engineering division to purchase additional RRFB equipment that we would install at priority locations in town as determined by town staff in consultation with our Transportation Advisory Committee, and the town, through its existing resources or grant resources, would cover for the labor costs associated with the installation. So this is specifically to be used for equipment to make targeted improvements at specific locations in town. We have not yet mapped them out, but an example of an installation may be like that which we see at the crossing in front of Trader Joe's, for example, where we recently installed a new rectangular rapid flashing beacon, and as we did at the intersection of Oakland Ave and Park Ave, just to give the public a sense for the type of equipment that we would be using these funds for. So with that, I just thought it would be appropriate as an agenda item to provide, an opportunity for both myself, but the board as well, to thank Mrs. Stubbe for this generous gift and donation and share any words that she may wish to.
Thank you, and it certainly is a very, very generous donation. So, of course, Mr. Stubbe, we know you very well, but Mr. Stubbe, welcome. If there's anything that you'd like to address to the board, we'd be happy to hear.
I can tell you about ribonucleotide reductase.
She's a biochemist. So
I'm a scientist.
she talks about science all the time.
That's okay, we like science too.
But she also talks about traffic a lot.
Yeah.
She's heard the Transportation Advisory Committee litany since I've been
I'm
on
scared
that
to
committee.
death to cross Mass Ave in the
That's
morning,
part of the motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
even with a flag.
Sure. All right, I'll turn to the board for any questions, comments, or motions. Mrs. Mahan?
First, I would like to move approval of the acceptance of funds by Professor Stubbe and sort of by relation, your brother Jim, who, first of all, we've exchanged personal stories that we've had as pedestrians and, encounters with other types of vehicles, bicycles, cars, et cetera. So as you know, this is something that, takes up probably 2 or 3 different places in our hearts and in your hearts, because I know you also have experienced that, and I know you've had conversations, and the Chairman Stubbe has had with the town manager about this, and it really is appreciative. One of the things that we've heard consistently for many years now is from, sometimes it's being reactive because we've had, somebody struck and seriously injured, and/or unfortunately, 1, 2, 3, 4 pedestrian deaths that I can think of, 1 in East Arlington, 2 in the center, 1 in the center, 2 in the Heights. Bill Dotson, the gentleman from Mill Street, and then the 2 up in the Heights. So this allows the board, when we say, oh, we're trying to be proactive and not just reactive, sometimes we can't do that because of a funding issue. And it is what it is. But this is very gracious of you, Professor Stubbe, to give to the town, donate to the town, and basically to leave the decision, not necessarily up to us, but to town staff and the town manager and others. Because no one would probably fault you to say, well, I want to pick where it's going to go, but, the science person in you probably says, put it to the craft and the profession that does that as their job. So I do appreciate you sort of giving that away. And I know you don't like to talk, but is there any science advice you can give me, or?
I'd be happy to talk science, but that's it.
But thank you, so it's my long-winded motion.
Mr. Solomon?
Yeah, thank you for this. I don't know if you followed the select board election, but this is sort of pedestrian safety is a bit of my cause du jour. And in the work that I've done on capital planning, looking at how we finance these things with the folks in everywhere Arlington livable streets who advocate for these things, repeatedly, funding is an issue that we run into. So for someone to come forward and help us solve that aspect of the problem is huge. I am incredibly thankful for your donation, and I hope that the town staff work quickly to identify where we can actually deploy this and make a difference in people's lives. And in doing my research, as I was reading the letter, I watched with my 10-year-old one of your videos about ribonuclease whatever.
Ribonucleotide reductase.
There we go.
Remember that.
So he
You
may
might
become a
get cancer.
scientist. You may have inspired him as well tonight, so thank you for your gift.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, and, oh, Mr.
Yeah,
DeCoursey.
thank you, Mr. Chair. I also, Professor Stubbe, want to thank you for your generosity to the community, and really, I just want to maybe add on to a little bit what Mr. Solomon said. Just you're very modest in terms of your scientific career. You were a professor at MIT, in fact, the first woman who received tenure in the chemistry department, and you received a subsequent appointment, I see, in the biology department, published over 300 scientific papers, and received the National Medal of Science Award in 2009. So you had a remarkable career, and we really appreciate as a community your generosity in helping us out with pedestrian safety.
I've had fun.
Mr. Helmuth?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just briefly, this is really well timed, as my colleague Mrs. Mahan mentioned, that the community is really getting excited about these devices. I used one tonight at Park in Oakland on my evening walk, and it works. The traffic really notices these. It's a major upgrade, and we're getting increased demand for these. Everybody kind of wants one, so this is going to help us a lot. And I appreciate the support of my colleagues on this board. I'm delighted to have Mr. Solomon join us because he's been a community leader in this cause as well. And again, to reiterate my support and my gratitude to the other Stubby in the room for his leadership and assistance in citing these, and the town manager above all for his leadership in prioritizing this to the best of our ability. That ability, as Mr. Hurd said, is often constrained by budget. And I'm really glad that we have more budget now to work with. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And again, thank you. My oldest is now at Ottoson, so he uses the pedestrian safety lights at Oakland and Park Ave. And while we still make sure he's being extra vigilant, when you drive by there, both as a motorist or as a pedestrian, you can tell the safety improvements are immense immediately. So to be able to use these in more intersections where they're needed is truly a gift to the town, especially the children of Arlington that walk across the streets. So I thank you for that. So we now have a motion by Mrs. Mahan, seconded by Mr. Solomon. Do we second?
Okay.
Yep.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say
I
aye.
was going to say, aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous vote. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I was gonna say, I didn't write anyone down, so. All right, number 6 on our agenda, review and approve a bond issue and related matters. Determination of the maximum useful life of capital asset purchases to be financed. Mr. Feeney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the board's consideration this evening is a step that we take procedurally each year to assign a useful life to assets for which we are about to borrow money. In this case, it was borrowings that were authorized by a 2/3 vote by town meeting last year under Article 50. We have our ratings call with Standard & Poor's, the global ratings agency, to go through our bond rating later this week, and we need to take this procedural step via vote of the board this evening to assign a maximum useful life to a number of the pieces of equipment, vehicle, or improvements we will be making to town buildings. So the board has a draft vote for consideration this evening that will assign a maximum useful life of either 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years to the specific projects, vehicles, and/or equipment purchases listed, and this will be codified in our sort of official statement that goes before the different agencies that are going to submit a bid for our bond anticipation notes and our bonds to be issued at this upcoming offering later this month. into the beginning of April, excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Feeney. I'll turn to the board for any questions, comments, or motions. Mrs. Mahan?
I'd like to approve the bond issue request on the maximum useful life of capital assets.
Have a second?
Second.
Any further comments? On a motion by Mrs. Mahan, seconded by Mr. DeCoursey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It's a unanimous vote. All right. Item 7 on the agenda. We have a proclamation here for Community Development Week, April 6th to 10th, 2026. Is Ms. Mazinski here? No. All right, I will read the proclamation, which is included in our agenda materials. So this is to recognize the week of April 6th to 10th as Community Development Week. Whereas the week of April 6th to 10th, 2026 has been designated as National Community Development Week by the National Community Development Association to celebrate the Community Development Block Grant Program. And whereas the CDBG program provides annual funding and flexibility to local communities to provide decent, safe, and affordable housing, a suitable living environment, and economic opportunities to low and moderate income people. And whereas over the past 51 years, our community has received over $60 million in CDBG funds. And whereas each year, affordable housing and affordable housing rehabilitation activities, public service activities, public facilities, and improvement activities, and economic development activities are funded. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Arlington designates the week of April 6th to 10th, 2026 as National Community Development Week in support of these valuable programs that has this valuable program that has made tremendous contributions to the viability of the housing stock, infrastructure, public services, and economic vitality of our community. Be it further resolved that our community opposes any attempts to eliminate the program and urges Congress to recognize the outstanding work being done locally and nationally by CDBG by supporting CDBG in fiscal year 2027, and this will be signed by all 5 members of this board. I will turn to the board for any questions, comments, or motions. Mrs. Mahan.
To move approval of the Community Development Week proclamation.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further comments? Motion to approve by Mrs. Mahan, seconded by Mr. Helmuth. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? It's a unanimous vote. Go to the consent agenda. Item number 8, minutes of meetings, March 9th, 2026, March 23rd, 2026. Sorry, are we pulling one out?
Oh, for the minute, no, I think that's the warrant articles.
We're going to pull
Oh,
it out.
warrant
final
article, sorry.
votes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Item 9, request farmer's market permit off-premises alcohol permit. Jeff Venuti, Bliss Point LLC. Number 10, request farmer's market permit off-premises alcohol permit. Thomas Allen, Arlington Brewing Company. Number 11, temporary public art installation on sidewalks, April and May 2026. Katie Lazai, Economic Development Coordinator. Number 12, 2026, outdoor dining outdoor dining parklet and sidewalk cafe renewals. It's a tough one.
I think that your first act as vice chair is to let you down. I think you were right. We might want to consider pulling number 8 out just because Mr. Solomon was not present for those meetings, and he may not, might be proper to
Okay.
to abstain.
Is that appropriate?
Thank you,
Attorney
Mr. Chair.
Cunningham?
Yes, we could pull them out, or Mr. Solomon could simply abstain when that vote's, to pull it out and take that vote separately would
Okay.
allow him to do that.
So we will do one vote on number 8 and one vote for 9 to 12. Number 12 is outdoor dining, parklet, sidewalk cafe renewals. I am not gonna read them all. All right, so we'll do a motion on item number 8 of the consent agenda minutes. Sorry. First, is there any questions, comments, or motions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Move favorable action?
On item number 8?
Yeah, move approval, rather.
On item number 8?
On item number 8.
Yep.
Second.
Do we have a second? So on a motion to approve item number 8 by Mr. DeCoursey, seconded by Mrs. Mahan, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
That's a 4-0-1 vote. Do we have a motion to approve items 9 to 12 of the consent agenda?
Move approval.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion to approve by Mr. Helmuth, seconded by Mr. Solomon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is a unanimous vote. That takes us to licensing and permits, outdoor dining and retail application for a very interesting parklet from Jose's Tortilla Mexicana and Butternut Bakehouse. So I invite you up to speak.
Thank you for the chance to present on this.
Sure.
So a little bit of background first. We want to thank the town for, there was a storefront improvement grant that we received to install this parklet.
Can I ask that you just pull that microphone a little bit
Oh,
towards
sure.
you as you speak?
This one.
We just want to make sure everyone at home can hear you.
Okay, is this
Sure,
better?
no, yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we submitted this application, and we wanted to thank the town for a storefront improvement grant program that funded the materials for this. We are planning to, last summer with Jose's, we had a parklet in the front of the two restaurants. So this year, we're going to combine together, basically combine our space for our customers. And so we have this grant used to build out this parklet.
Great. And we have your application materials that just the design of the parklet, so. All right, with that, I will turn to the board for any questions, comments, or motions. Mrs. Ma?
First, I'd like to move approval on this parklet request. Second, I want to thank Katie Lusai and others in the planning department as you cited about the grant that you took the time and you also did on behalf of your restaurant, Torta?
Yes.
Jose's Torta Mexicana, and you on behalf of Butternut Bakehouse. And it's really nice to see something, sort of an upgrade, not sort of, it is an upgrade in terms of, and also working together as two, you're both in businesses, but the businesses that complement each other. But it's nice, just like when we say if neighbors can get to know each other and work together. It's really nice that you're doing this as businesses. And not that other businesses don't do it, but I think, I wanted to highlight that sort of business marriage that you all have entered into. I wish you many, many years of happiness and no fights. Mr. Hurd has always said, and the rest of the board, we try to do whatever we can to work with our businesses, because we know what limited businesses we have here in Arlington, and when we do get them, we want to do whatever we can to keep you here as long as you can. And we're also very mindful in the food industry, what that means to have that sort of a business, that you are doing it pretty much 24/7. You're pulling in your family to do it, and pretty much your employees also become your family. It's a really big commitment. My family's also in the restaurant business, and everybody else on the board is very aware of that. So, a little long-winded, but I was really excited to see this. I had to keep rotating, but that's not your fault. In terms of, anyone else have that problem? Okay, I thought, is it me? But it was really nice, and I appreciate the details that you both have submitted in terms of, not just, here's what it is, here's what it's costs. It's nice to see. You even gave us a picture of the table and chairs, and I was very appreciative of that. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, do we have a second?
Yeah, second. And
Mr. Solomon? Yep, absolutely.
I'm curious, so you mentioned last year you had one for each business, was it?
Just with Jose's.
Okay. What did it do for you? You know, why are you back? Why do you want to do this again?
Yes, during the morning, I'm very slow, so we didn't use the outdoor. So they're open in the morning and their customers go and sit in front and enjoy the coffee and the whatever croissant. And in the evenings when I'm busy, so I use that, they close after 2 p.m., something like that. 4 p.m.
And you feel, what does it do for your business, right?
Yeah.
My daughter pulled our Butternut Bakehouse frequent flyer card out the other day.
We really want to build community around our business, and so it adds seating space, right, which is good for the business, but it also, in the summertime, it really creates a place for people to come. And we were triggered also by the grant program for this. We saw, with this grant, we can actually invest in more materials, have it, there'll be, potted plants around, on top of the barricade, and so we wanted to make a beautiful space in front of the two businesses. We'll have signs on both so they know, that they can, that both businesses use it for their customer seating. But it was really about, we're always thinking about how to beautify the business and upgrade, and so it was a bit of the kind of spurred on by the grant, and then knowing that we have this complementarity with our neighbors. That's basically why.
No, I think this kind of stuff is great. Having seen the holiday market that was here at Town Hall and the amount of people that came out because they just wanted something like that, a place to go and be with their neighbors. I look forward to seeing the outcome here.
Okay.
Any further comments? Mr. Helmuth?
Thank you. Just a question for the town manager. First of all, I want to say thank you to the applicants for a really good, detailed application, and I appreciate the questions and answers that you provided. And I'm looking forward to the beauty of this. It'll be a great place to enjoy my morning buns with butternut and my torta el chavo for lunch from Jose's. You're both very fine businesses. But I wanted to check with the town managers just to double check on the sign off on the safety question of the crash worthiness of the barriers with the technical information provided, that you and your department heads are comfortable with this.
Thank you, Mr. Helmut. That is correct. We did have the plan designs reviewed thoroughly by a number of different departments here in town, and you did see that we had a fairly substantive exchange in terms of back and forth, and we do believe that, while if someone just looks at the plans at first glance and sees that it is simply constructed of wood, you may sort of question its crash worthiness, but it is actually modular, and each of those barrier sections are ballasted or weighted by 3-course of CMU block, or what we call concrete masonry units. So that provides a substantial amount of weight that would prevent, the sort of entire enclosure from moving, in a very easy fashion. So it's something we've reviewed, and again, hopefully something like this could be a model moving forward, given that we do receive a lot of feedback regarding the sort of bright orange plastic jersey barriers that we currently use are not particularly attractive, but they are simple and effective. But this sort of checks that aesthetic box as well.
Thank you.
Mr. Corsi?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I want to commend both businesses for working together, as Mrs. Mahan said, because we get a lot of instances where we receive an application or we've made an approval, and there's sometimes communication issues with other businesses. Sometimes other businesses aren't happy with it. But the fact that you're working together on this, that the times complement both businesses, but you're sharing the sanitation plan, you're sharing the coverage. I just think it's a great joint venture here, and I wish you the best with it.
And again, thank you. We always say thank you for choosing Arlington. We know it's not always the easiest place, but we have great residents, and they really enjoy to shop local in Arlington, and so hopefully you get to experience this. My office is in Arlington Center, so there's a lot of food and coffee establishments between me and you, but I'll have to earn my burrito one of these days by taking a couple extra miles to get there. But again, we appreciate doing this the right way. And I think this is something that everyone can enjoy, including those just driving by and seeing it, where it's, you know, a little, you know, we do a lot of parklets. Some businesses put a lot of effort into the parklets, some businesses don't. So we do appreciate the businesses that put effort into the parklets to make this program work. All right, with that, we have a motion by Mrs. Mahan, seconded by Mr. Solomon. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
All right, next, item number 14, up for appointment, our poet laureate. We have Teresa Cater, term to expire March 31st, 2028. Welcome. This always tends to be one of our more interesting appointments. So if you can just give us a little information about yourself and what you'd like to do as our next poet laureate.
Okay, and I'm very happy to be here and really honored to have been given this position. And before I start, I want to say I was very moved by the last group, and I'll come back to this. And it might seem like these are different worlds, but as a poet laureate, I'm very interested in working with restaurants and with the business community. And in my past life, I did have experience with state and local governments, so that synergy really excites me. I'm not sure, I think you have my bio, but...
We do, yeah.
Okay. So what do I want to say about myself? First, I've been here almost 10 years after a long time in Lexington, and I really prefer Arlington. It's a town I've come to really love, and it's a really good town for the arts. So I'm really proud of all of you and other people in the town who are supporting artists. And a long time ago, I worked in the state government for the arts, and there have been so many studies to say that arts help economic development, and that's really true, and I'm going to sort of do my part. I'm working on my 5th book. My 4th book came out in 2024, and I don't know how much, anyway, it won an award.
Sure.
And my first book won an award, won 2 awards. So I've had a long history of publishing. And one of the things about my work is I'm really fascinated by history and by local history. So I have written poems about Arlington. I will read one tonight. And I have a long one about the herring run. It's in my 4th book. And 2 that take place during COVID. And then 1 that's about the Battle of Monotony. Okay. And it's so lovely that this is a group where I don't have to explain what monotony is.
On the run of the herring.
So what would you, and please tell me what you'd most like from me, so I don't.
For tonight?
Yeah.
If you want to read a selected work, you
Yeah,
can, and then
agree.
we'll turn to the boards for any question, comments, or...
Yeah, and then I can talk about what some of my ideas are.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, and it's interesting because I lived in Lexington, right near the Green. Never heard of the Battle of Monotony, which probably doesn't surprise you. But yeah. Okay. The Battle of Monotony. When I sauntered to the mailbox in miserable sun, a woman stares at the stone marker by my fence. Sight of the house of John Cutter set on fire during the British retreat of April 19th, 1775. Dogs piss on it. A traffic box cautions walkers at the crosswalk. Wait, wait, wait. Ambushed by 4,000 militia, the Brits torched houses and barns during the day's bloodiest fight. Royal bayonets gutting Jason and his friends at the Jason Russell House across the street. In 3rd grade, I fell in love with glossy books about the founding fathers, the women in bonnets churning butter in barrels, that righteous hunger. What did I know of myths and facts? The Russells and their kind owned servants, some diaries say. Now our town fights over low-income housing. Jazz on the Russell House lawn, pop-up beer gardens and tents, the annual battle reenactments. Nearby, in the old burying ground, unmarked graves of redcoats and the enslaved. Where is Kate, owned by the Russells? Rose and Venus by the Cutlers. Underground radar might locate bones, the way it finds water and sewer pipes. Black soldiers battled here. Ishmael, Cato, Cuff. I open the hot mailbox to town taxes, Viking tours, and the ACLU wanting my vote. A fall leaf drops. Of course, I did not realize I'd be writing to you reading this to you when I brought up town taxes, but.
No problem.
And, well,
All right, and I'll turn to the board and maybe some of the questions can jump in. So, do we have any questions, comments, motions? Mr. Helmuth?
Thank you. I will very gladly move approval and express my appreciation to the committee. I believe we have the chair of the Polar Committee with us tonight. I love that poem, and I think one of the jobs of a poet is to observe their place, the people, and that poem really does, and then give voice to what you see and help us see things in a different way. So I'm excited by what I just heard. I'm glad for what you'll do for us in this term as laureate, and look forward to anything else my colleagues would like to say. All right. Did I make the motion? I did, yeah.
Yes. I have your initials here, so.
That's good enough then, yeah.
Mrs. Mahan?
I would like to second it and say thank you so much for coming to Arlington and your kind remarks. I really see poetry, to me, poetry is like art of the mind. And a really good poem, similar to what you just did, creates a picture that we're not seeing in front of us, but we're hearing it and we can see it, and it gets recreated in our mind. And one of the great skills that I admire of someone who can write poetry is being able to first put the right words together, but also put them together that sparks that sort of poetry of the mind. I remember when you submitted the paper WASP, I felt like I was learning again about how paper was made, and I felt like I wanted to talk to that neighbor and say, be nice to him, they're making paper, wait till you see the end. But I really could see it all that way. And I'm really encouraged by some of the things you highlight that you'd like to do, and you talk about the Herring Run and the Mystic. I would love if you could, we also have a group called Save the Alewife with Alewife Brook, and the alewife and the counting of the alewife and things like that, because they've already started to do that. They've married into people with art and creating different art pieces along the way down by the alewife on the bike path that abuts the alewife, that really, again, educates people and gives them a picture of what's going on down there. But just where you highlighted about the Mystic and the Herring, I wanted to put in a plug for the alewife. And the Battle of Monotony, I definitely agree. And I like that you highlighted, we also have African American and David Lansom. We did David Lansom Way in there. And I really think Arlington sometimes is the lesser sister to Lexington, but we really should be the first sister because, you know, we had all of the action and a lot happened here. And Mr. Hurd served on the semi-quincentennial committee for the 250th. If I said that wrong, don't tell me I did. But And we have things coming in this year that our deputy town manager, Christine Bongiorno, worked on last year and she'll be working on this year. So anything that you can add to that, I'd love to incorporate that what you just read for us. And the other thing is, I was really excited, and I know I'm going long-winded, I'll make this the last point, but, talking about Beehive and working with the library and working with the young people, because it really, poetry, I think if you're really gonna tap into it and foster it and grow it the right way, I think you need to do it when, you're first starting out as a youth. I remember cannot write poetry well, but I had a teacher growing up that, saw my short stories, saw some of my poems, encouraged me, submit it to Highlights for Children. I don't think anyone will remember that. And I felt so special that they accepted it. I now realize that, they probably accept a lot of things, but that really fostered and encouraged me. And sometimes it was also a vehicle for expression and going through middle school and high school and sort of being able to express it that way and work through it that way. I think I'm pleased that you also cited that. So I know I've thrown a lot at you, but I appreciate what you've done with the Mystic and the Herring. I'm throwing in a plug for Save the Alewife with the youth and poetry. And like I said, we still have this upcoming year. There'll be other 250th celebrations. Maybe you can tie that in there. Thank you, Mr. Hard.
Thank you. Any more comments, questions? You did say that correctly.
Okay.
When I first started working on it, that word scared me. It doesn't really seem that scary anymore. And thank you again for your willingness to serve. It is really an important position in town. It kind of goes under the radar, but the amount of work, it's all what you put into it, right? And you come with an obvious, intent to put a lot of energy into the job and the position, and we really appreciate that. We did used to have a amateur poet on our board, but he unfortunately moved to Somerville. So Mr. Solomon is gonna have to step up and be the new poet for the select board.
He continues to be in our committee, so we're very pleased with that.
I'm sure he does. All right, so on a motion to approve by Mr. Helmuth, seconded by Mrs. Mahan, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous vote. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I really want to thank the Poet Laureate Committee. And they've been terrific, and I feel like I have good partners going forward.
Sure.
And if you notice that I mentioned the Favorite Poem Project, which was Robert Pinsky's project as U.S. Poet Laureate. And I've talked to him, so he is willing to help me do it here.
Wow.
So, and the other thing is I'm very interested in international poetry and ethnic poetry, so I'm particularly looking for ways to work with our restaurants and the International Film Festivals. So
All right.
I'd love to get suggestions from you if you ever have them or things that you're interested in having me do.
All right.
I just wanted to add, if I may, that Teresa was one of a great group of people who applied to be a poet laureate. It was a really, really close call, but her credentials really made her shine for the group. We're grateful that you support the Poet Laureate program, and we hope to, and the committee thanks you.
Thank
And
you.
we're really happy about it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on to item number 15, warrant article hearings. We have one warrant article hearing for tonight for Article 37, disposition of real estate at 0 Reed Street. This, do we have the proponent? And I will turn to Attorney Cunningham first, and then I'll give the proponent some time to speak.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did have a chance to speak to Mr. Swanson and follow up to the board's hearing on this article at its last meeting. I spoke to Mr. Swanson a couple of times, and I think that did some additional research with the legal department. I want to thank Peter Buckley from our department and his capacity to do a lot of this research with the registry. It seems nearly certain that the parcel that is the subject of this warrant article is not owned by the town. It's owned by the estate of the previous landowners that were cited in the materials submitted by the petitioner. Accordingly, I don't think it's necessarily going to be appropriate for the board to consider a warrant article that seeks to sell a property that the town doesn't own. I believe that the petitioner is in agreement on this, but I'll let, the chair, through the chair, let the petitioner speak on, I do know that we spoke a couple times, and hopefully we've come to a resolution on this.
Well, Mr. Swanson, I would say on behalf of the town, we're happy to have you buy something from us that we don't own.
Maybe next time.
So if you want to just add any comments to what the town council said, you can do so now.
Great, well, thanks to the board for having us here again tonight to continue this conversation, and thank you, Attorney Cunningham, for digging into it a little bit deeper. Don't have much else to add. We, like Attorney Cunningham has said, we have connected a couple times since last meeting, and we're in agreement with his stance, and it's certainly exciting for us, and we're looking forward to kind of taking on our next steps for the project. So I don't have much else to add other than we appreciate your time and the work everyone's putting in.
All right, this is a public hearing, so if there's anyone in the chamber that wishes to speak on this, or if you are in Zoom, please use the raise hand function.
Seeing no hands raised.
Seeing no hands, we'll go to the board for any questions, comments, or motions. Mr. DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will move no action, but I do want to thank Mr. Swanson. We had asked for follow-up since the last meeting. Thank you for doing that, so at least we know what we need to do tonight, and best of luck going forward.
Attorney Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I also want to thank the manager. As part of the process through this, the manager had the surplus property policy that this board approved last year inserted into the materials that are part of this, for this board's meeting tonight. And I think, even though it's not applicable to this particular parcel, as we learned after that was done, I still think it's a good exercise for us to go through and understand the steps we may need to go through in some future date when we seek to try and deal with surplus property in town.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Mrs. Mahan?
I'd like to second that and also echo Town Council Cunningham's remarks. We've all gone through the override recently and gotten a whole variety of questions about what the town should do, what is the town doing, and this is one of the many areas that the current town manager, Mr. Feeney, identified that's come to fruition under his tenure, to try to find every possible way we can to look at something that could possibly be a driver for revenue. And I do appreciate that this was something available, as well as the proponents' time that you've taken, attending a couple of meetings now and making yourself knowledgeable about this new surplus policy that the managers instituted. So I understand we can't entertain something and declare it surplus because we don't own it, and so that's why I will second Mr. DeCoursey's motion of no action.
Any further comments? All right, we have a motion of no action by Mr. DeCoursey, seconded by Mrs. Mahan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is a 5-0 vote. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, that brings us to final votes and comments. We have final votes and comments for Article 8, Article 9, Article 15, Article 16, Article 17, Article 18, 19, 21, 22, 28, 30, 31.
No, I'd like to take 31 out.
31, 30. Right?
30,
Yep.
sorry, 30.
31, 33, and 36, yes. So we are going to take Article 30 out, and we'll put that before us.
Could I move favorable action on all the articles you cited, with the exception of Article 30? And could I also note, which my colleagues probably have already seen, under final votes and comments from the town council, that I've had some email communications that Dr. Crowder has sent to me on Article 22, which was a 4-1 vote. I voted in the negative. She also has asked to appear and will appear again before our colleagues on the Park and Recs Commission, and she cited in there the concerns, I don't want to say concerns or issues, but some of the points raised by the board, and she's taking extra steps to address them. And I also had a conversation with the town manager, and I will have a conversation with you, Dr. Crowder, just between the election and everything else, but I've been reading everything, but then one of my sort of strong concerns was, you know, having an unenforceable bylaw that we're now strengthening, but going through the override and telling the voters we're going to look everywhere we can to, you know, when we can recoup revenue, we will, and B, the town manager pointed out, he didn't accept me saying we don't enforce this and we couldn't enforce a stronger bylaw, but he put the point to me, look at it this way, when we do enforce this bylaw, this is strengthening it more, and that's a better way to go. So as you can see in the final votes and comments, that 4-1 vote has been changed to 5-0, and the comments have been edited down to reflect a unanimous 5-0 versus a 4-1. So on that, move favorable action on all those final votes and comments except for Article 30.
Okay, Attorney Cunningham?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In addition to that change, there have been some other changes that were made after discussions with Mr. Corsi, Mr. Helmuth, and I want to thank them for all the help that they provided in getting these draft votes and comments into a shape that the board is comfortable with and is pleased with. I also would like to note one thing, and this is my mistake. Article 28, which the board conducted a hearing on last time, and this is the home rule legislation for the additional on-premise all alcohol licenses. As you know, the board, you may recall last meeting, the board changed that from a proposed 5 to 10 additional licenses. That's reflected in the comment. However, the draft language that is in the draft votes and comments right now does not accurately reflect that. So I'd like to make that change. So maybe when the board takes its vote tonight, I want that to be accurate, an accurate reflection of the action that the board took on that article. I need to change that draft recommended vote.
I think we could just have Mrs. Mahan amend her motion to note that change so we can approve it tonight. All right, do we have a second? Mr. Helmuth?
Thank you. And I just want to make a request to the board administrator for the minutes. As is my custom on some of these home rules that I did recuse myself from the board discussion and vote, I still maintain the practice of taking this vote because this is an administrative vote to further this and get this into our report. But I just want to note for the minutes in this meeting that I did properly recuse myself for those items.
All right, any further comments? All right, so we have a motion to approve the final votes and comments on all items listed before us except for Article 30 with the couple of edits as discussed by Mrs. Mahan, seconded by Mr. Helmuth. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And now we have Article 30. So you can just
Do you want to
say
make a
why.
statement?
Oh, yeah, so I am, in my day job, employed by the MBTA, therefore I'm going to recuse myself from any conversation about this.
All right. So when you recuse yourself from the board, you have to go walk outside around the building.
On foot. I do a little hate, no hazing.
All right, before us we have Article 30 for final votes and comments. Do I have any motions? Mrs. Mahan?
I'd like to move approval of final votes and comments on Article 30.
Do I have a second?
Second.
By Mr. Corsi. Without further comment, we have a motion to approve the final votes and comments for Article 30 by Mrs. Mahan, seconded by Mr. DeCoursey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? With one recusal, 401.
Mr. Chairman, just a question. Tonight we had the vote on Article 37. There may be one or two that I think have been updated by Attorney Cunningham that we may not have had a final vote. I'm thinking of Articles 6 and 23. Is that, I just want to make sure timing-wise we're okay in terms of when we come back for that.
For the 13th?
That's the drop dead date for all of it. We'll go to the printer that night, so,
It can be the 13th, but no longer.
correct.
Mr. Cunningham,
Thank you,
Attorney
Mr.
Cunningham.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to Mr. DeCoursey, certainly aware of those articles, and the intent was to bring those forward to the board at its meeting on the 13th and have them final approval there, along with the final report from the board, so that it's available in time for printing pursuant to the board administrator's deadline,
Strict
which
deadline.
we will meet.
All right. And we took our vote, so that disposes of item number 16. That takes us to new business.
No new business. Thank you, Mr. Hurd.
Attorney Cunningham,
No new business, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Feeney,
No new business, thank you.
Mr. DeCoursey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just briefly, I know Ms. Mahan will probably say more, but I want to thank the voters first of all, congratulate Mr. Mahan and Mr. Solomon for their victories. On Saturday, hard-fought victories, and thank the voters for the overwhelming support for the override, and I think it was over 70%, and I think that speaks to the confidence people have in the community, but I also want to say it also speaks to Mr. Feeney's recommendation and the board's vote in putting this amount, that was the right amount to be spent. We're still going to watch over things carefully, and you don't pick a number based on whether you get 70%, 80%. You pick a number because you think it's the right number, and that's what I felt that we did. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Mahan?
Yes, and welcome to Mr. Solomon, although we saw each other on the campaign trail, on the override trail. I do want to say, just to sort of piggyback on what Mr. DeCoursey said, very grateful to I think it was 40.1% of registered voters who came out and gave us a 72% yes vote, which, number one, that's record-setting for Arlington for overrides. I can state that as a fact. It's been cited to me, amongst others in the steering committee, that they think it's also records 72% voting yes in the state, but I don't know that as a fact. But it certainly is usually not the norm. You know, I know when we were going through this, we were like, oh, it's probably going to be a 50-40 vote. We hope maybe it's in the 60s. 40, we hope we win, but we could lose because, you know, we're asking people to pay more when they're already paying more for other things in their own family life, whether you're a family of one or a family of 7 or more. And, you know, we're certainly appreciative of that. And I also want to point out, one of the other reasons I'm really thankful for a 72% yes vote of the 40.1% people that came out. If you're looking at it, you could tell we've all been in this way too much, but Arlington, to me, this is a reflective vote of sort of the whole pie, different pieces of the town of Arlington, because 20.4% of all registered voters are parents of school-aged children, 0 to 22. So if you just do all the math, this 72% vote is a school vote plus. It's a school and a town vote. You know, we'd always like to have more than 40% come out, even though that's a high record number for an election for an override. But I think it's helpful to really, we've gotten a sense of where the community is. But I do want to say, because of this, it was brought up by the steering committee members that I was talking to early in the day, because they're meeting tonight, and myself and Mr. Thielman couldn't attend it, that one of the things, and I can tell you this, that really helped, that when, you know, you're knocking on doors, you're talking to people on porches, if it's really cold out and they take pity on you, you're in the kitchen, you're in coffee shops, et cetera. When we were out there and we weren't sure of what the number was, and we were telling people, you know, that's because the town manager, you know, the schools have done their due diligence, but the town manager has a process with their department heads, and they're still coming up with a number. I really think the strong vote of support that this board got, this town manager and superintendent, really was because of the deliberative process that a lot of the voters wanted to see. When we did set an override, because, you know, we're coming from a place where we're raising people's taxes and raising them, you know, somewhat substantially. And one of the things that I wanted to do was, thank all the voters, whether you were a strong yes, whether you were on the fence and voted yes, you were on the fence and just couldn't do it and voted no, or you were a strong no, that they took the time to talk. There was a lot of communication, personally, as well as what was put out by the town manager through his department heads, was what was put out by the superintendent of schools that she went through with her department heads and staff. And one of the things I think was a success, even with the no voters, is what I would consider sort of one of the leaders of the hard no, not going to vote for it, was said when they put out their statement, I'm not saying there shouldn't be an override, I just don't think this isn't the number. So that tells me for someone who's a hard no, I think I call that a success, even though, we didn't get, because they weren't saying. But the other thing that we did hear a lot of is what the voters heard during this override campaign. They'd really like to see that continue, as well as when I had people come up to me and say, well, I don't know, I don't think you've cut everything that is extra or is waste. And I would say to them, well, what is that? Tell me what that is, and I'll bring it forward. And 10 times out of 10, the person would say, well, I don't know, I don't have time to study that, and you don't really have anything where I can come and hear what it is that might be cut, and then I would have an idea. One of the things Mr. Thielman and I have committed to is to work with our colleagues on our respected committee and board and the town manager and superintendent to have something, a joint meeting where we're all there, but it's the superintendent and the town manager, long after town meeting, long after the summer. We're going to talk about it to see if this is something can be done, but a lot of residents override and just couldn't vote right now and or just don't vote for override said, can you piggyback on the success of what we've done with the Civic Academy? That really has opened up a lot of people to, if you want to learn about town government, if you want to learn everything there is about every facet of town government, that's where you do it. In order to give people the opportunity to hear from the town manager and the superintendent, to look at the budgets, and also where we can report back that, a lot of the times people didn't know about the turnbacks, even that this board, select board, gives back to the budget. They didn't know about free cash, that it looks like we have a lot, but we vastly underfund snow and ice and things like that. So that's one of the things that Jeff and Mr. Thielman and I promised that we would commit to, trying to see if that's something that we could put together, possibly this fall. It may be too soon because, the override won't get applied until July 1st, but something where they can come in and they can hear about budgets, they can hear about priorities, they can hear about things that we have to do because we're mandated by state and or federal law. And then they can hear about, when people said to me, oh, you got to cut things that are extra, and when I asked them what, and they couldn't say what they were, I'd say, well, one of the things we could cut is, the managers put in trash pickup on the weekends at parks and playgrounds and the bike. No, you can't do that. Or if I brought up about ACMi and the PEG access funds and the Dallin Library where they're housed, and we need ACMi. And I said, well, that's what we've got. So I think we somehow need to work forward on that. But the steering committee and this select board, is very thankful to the town manager. I think you are owed a lot of credit for allowing us to not only defend increasing people's taxes, taking money out of their wallets and their pocketbooks, but also being able to educate. And we were able to answer all those questions. And we spent a lot of time, and we compiled all the questions that we got. And one of the things that I heard from voters is they really felt with this manager and with the superintendent, but I'm just going to speak about the town side, that not only was there a deliberative process, not only was there the information for people to educate, they definitely got the message that the time that the town side took in setting the number wasn't 15, it was 14.8, but B, also thinking about the cuts, that there wasn't any kind of scare tactics, that the town manager, whatever cuts he put down there, he didn't put anything down that he didn't mean. Those, if we and we still have to trim and look for cost efficiencies and where we can save. But, you know, these were very real impending cuts, and I'm very proud of the residents of the town that, once again, stepped up and said, no, we want to keep Arlington, protect it, preserve it the way it is, but we need to continue on this dialogue in some way. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you. I would like to echo the congratulations to my colleagues, Mrs. Mahan on her reelection and Mr. Solomon on his, and a nail biter of a race.
Have you seen my nails?
And I really am grateful to the voters of Arlington. I think that it reflects trust in the town's and school's leadership. And, you know, that's not a one and done. We earn that trust every day, every year, and we need to continue earning that. I think that we did a good job, and people who worked in the campaign and the leadership in the town and the school departments, to be honest with the residents, that these are the services we have now, and this is the money we need to continue providing those services. And for me, an override is a really, in a way, a simple question. Do you want to continue to pay for those services? That is up to you, the residents, to tell us if you want to do that. For me, that's what an override is. And the fact that people believed us when we said that, because we had the receipts. I did hear occasionally some people who hadn't really done the homework and were concerned about transparency. And, you know, you can see every penny the town spends on the visual budget. We have a public independent audit every year, and that's published. And I think that this says to me that people do trust that we're being honest with the numbers, that we're being honest and careful with our money that we've managed. Speaking specifically the town manager, I really appreciate his leadership in showing that we are willing to tighten our belts, and that we did that before the override. We're going to do that after this override to be good stewards of the public's money. But finally, the fact that the public values the services they're receiving, whether that's through the police, the trash collection, the public works, the fire department, the schools, says a lot for the quality of services that our organization provides to residents. And for me, that's perhaps the most heartening thing of all, that residents value what the town provides to them, and they see their taxes as, yes, a sacrifice, but they see that as buying services that make the community worth living in for them. And for that, I am very grateful. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mrs. Solomon?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo everything that everybody else said. My prior role to being here with you tonight was on the capital planning committee, and there were many decisions that we made that were very focused on being fiscally responsible. I think, you know, we don't have particularly high public attendance at our meetings. Maybe one person per season comes by. But there's a lot of no's that we say, and a lot of pushback that we make to every department in this town about every request that they make. And to echo Mr. Helmut's point here, that people really like what they get for it, right? So I think being able to go to people and say, we are being fiscally responsible, we are trying to find every opportunity to, you know, minimize the impact on you while delivering the maximum amount of value to make sure that all that stuff that you love about this town is still there for you the next day. I really think that happened here. And I think, you know, the voters definitely recognize it. I am still in shock about the 72% versus what we saw in neighboring communities. It's like worlds apart. And I think that speaks to the work that folks all throughout this town did to make that happen.
Thank you. And I'd like to welcome Mr. Solomon to the board and congratulate Mrs. Mahan on a historic run. And many more to come.
You poor people. Right.
And just thank the board for having the confidence to elect me chair. This is my 9th year on the board and the first time I've ever chaired a meeting in this room. My previous term as chair was 100% on Zoom, so I enjoy this much more. I don't want to kind of rehash everything that's been said, but again, just I think the results of the election show a lot of confidence in the town employees and the services that we provide. We went through, as the town manager knows, you know, the job market is very competitive for municipal jobs, and we often have a lot of turnover. And as a town, we're with both teachers and town employees, we're very much competing with other towns that have a lot more cash on hand from, you know, commercial businesses and whatnot in their municipalities. So it's hard for Arlington to compete, and in order to do that, these periodic overrides allow us to have the ability to keep very, very talented individuals working both in the schools and on the town side. So it's always good to see the town appreciate how the town operates, but it's really a nod to anybody that works in the town that, you know, residents are happy with the services that they're getting, and they're willing to make sacrifices to keep those services. And I do just want to thank everyone that was involved in the election. It's a large task, especially now that we have early voting. Of course, our wonderful town clerk goes well beyond the job parameters that she was just recently appointed for when it come election time. And all our town workers or all our election workers and town workers, DPW, police, it takes a village to put on an election. And thank ACMi that was here, who graciously allowed me to be part of their broadcast. I did have my on-site reporter outfit on, blazer shirt with jeans. I was thinking I was gonna be behind the desk at the clerk's office.
Oh, no, you were
But of course, somebody snapped a picture that became the lead on Your Arlington, but that's okay. It's the modern look for a professional, I guess. So with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
By Mrs. Mahan, seconded by
Second.
Mr. DeCoursey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We are adjourned.